Yo, what's up? Thank you for tuning in today to Sober Guy Radio. Thanks to Humans for bringing us in, and thank you to you for supporting the show. We're live at Innovations in Recovery Conference in San Diego, California, brought to you by Foundations Recovery Network. Very excited to be here. Big thanks to Foundations for bringing Sober Guy Radio out. And not just myself, but my wife and my 2 kids got to come too and hang out at the beach and enjoy some time together. So we're having a great time talking to some great folks in the recovery industry, as well as in recovery themselves. And speaking of which, our guest today, Jim Kreitler from Calvary Recovery Services, is joining us, and I'm going to read you a little bit about Jim, and then we'll talk to him and get to know him a bit. From his own perspective, he was born in New York City, raised in Aberdeen, New Jersey. Jim earned his bachelor's degree in psychology from the University of Dayton, and then pursued a master's in addiction counseling from Grand Canyon University, and is a licensed associate substance abuse counselor in the state of Arizona. Jim began his own personal recovery journey in 1998, and after 10 years retired from a 28-year career to seek his calling to help addicted people. And it's really one of my favorite things to really have these conversations about when people go from their own recovery to serving others in the industry. So it's great to talk to you today, Jim. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for being here, Shane.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm glad to be here. So tell us a little bit about yourself, man. I know I gave a short bio, but where did your own recovery journey start, I guess?
Yeah, you bet. Well, I'm an East Coast kid and grew up in a good family. Didn't have a whole lot of drinking and drugging going on in my immediate family, but I have alcoholism in my genes. My grandfather died on the streets of New York. You know, he was kind of an Irish drunken gambler, and so I knew I had the predisposition. But went to college at University of Dayton, and then moved out to Arizona in 1979, and had always enjoyed partying, probably a little too much, you know, but hadn't gotten in a lot of trouble, and then tried to live that dual life of both still partying but trying to be a legit guy, you know, being a good husband, good father. But Did you find it easy to justify because you weren't like in trouble, say with the law or something? Because then I can really relate to that. It wasn't I didn't do dumb things. I just never got caught, thankfully. Right. So I was able to justify it very easily. And that's how I kept score. If I didn't have consequences, I didn't really have a problem, and yet my behavior was whacked out. Ultimately, leading those two lives becomes exhausting, you know, trying to be legit during the day and then still doing what you do at night or whatever, and it became harder and harder to keep those two worlds from colliding and from crisscrossing. And ultimately then in 1998, it became obvious to my family and particularly to my wife that I had a problem. I did go into inpatient treatment and had a good experience in Tucson, but I didn't do everything they asked me to do when I get out. And I lasted about 60 days and then had a pretty humiliating relapse, a crash and burn, very public at work. And I don't wish a relapse on anybody, but that straightened me out, and I came back into a recovery program, did an IOP, and just.
How long did it take you to jump back into that? Was it pretty quick after?
My relapse was only 8 days, so it was very brief, but it was just, you know, everybody at work knew I was sober now. I had been to inpatient treatment, and my family and everybody, and so really I was devastated by that.
It's kind of tough because like the cat's out of the bag. Like I no longer have that crutch. I've committed to this, and then you jump back in, and it's probably a pretty big letdown. Yeah,
I was filled with shame, and I really considered just ending it all, and then ultimately made a decision to come back and give it one more try and do whatever they suggested. And that's really what made all the difference for me, is I just did what I was told, and now I've built a wonderful life of recovery. And
awesome. It's funny when we're not, because nobody, I feel like this theme keeps coming up. We've had a lot of great conversations today, and I think I've said it probably 6 times already at least, is that nobody likes to be told what to do in general, right? But there has to be a certain willingness to maybe take suggestions. And, to kind of circle back to your point, I know for me, I think I know the right way in every way, and that tends to get me in trouble sometimes. So I had to learn how to take some advice and how to be willing, be willing to listen to other people. How do you approach that? And thank you for sharing a bit about your personal recovery too. You're with Calvary Healing Center. How do you address people coming in who really don't want to be told what to do?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the first thing I do is I kind of normalize that for them, and I tell them a little bit about where my head was at that same
You're able
stage.
to relate.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's huge.
I was anxious about. I didn't want to quit. I wanted to quit screwing up.
Yeah.
But I also thought that a life without being able to have a drink or a little something was going to not maybe be worth living. I really didn't. Who knew being sober was going to be so cool?
Yeah.
I didn't know it at the time. But as I shared that with them, and I say, that I had my own awakening, and I'd say they're on a journey, they're on the road, and to just kind of go with the flow and don't fight it so much, and beautiful things can happen.
Yeah. I think at the bottom of it, a lot of us are our own worst enemies. I can really defeat myself on my own without anybody having to do it for me. Where's Calvary located at again? It's in
Calvary's in North Central Phoenix in Arizona.
North Central Phoenix.
Yeah,
okay.
It's been there for a long time, and it's a great little place. We've been around for over 50 years. Great little place to get sober, have inpatient, outpatient, the full continuum, and a lot of loving people that work there.
Oh, it's awesome. It's awesome. What is, so let me circle back to your recovery real quick, because I think this is important too. What's one thing that is really important to you? Because I tend to do this. I'll ask like 6 different questions in one, so my apologies. But separating work from your own recovery. I know that can be difficult sometimes, because it's important for us in recovery to work our own program. And I know there's been times when I'm doing service and I'm helping other people, I can tend to lose focus of that. How do you kind of separate those, and what do you do to kind of keep that in the conscious?
Yeah, it's a super point, because being around people in early recovery seems like service work, and yet it's what I do for a living. And I've been blessed with a sponsor that's very clear about that, that I need to do what I need to do to take care of myself and be of service to others just in my own program. So I still have to go to many meetings a week, stay in touch with my sponsor, do all those things completely separate of what I do at Calvary. Not only supports my recovery, it keeps me healthy emotionally. So then I'm available in a good way for people at work.
Being in your own experience that you suffered a relapse in your own journey, I have a good friend of mine who recently had the same relapse, and probably not feeling too good about it the next day. What advice can you give someone out there who's going through something like that? Yeah,
I mean, it's an important topic. We kind of have to dance around it a little bit when we're talking to people in treatment. The reality is relapse happens. It doesn't happen to everybody, and it's really dangerous. Bad things can happen even that first time that you drink again. But what I tell people is it's a chance to just reset your program, and that all the stuff that went on during the relapse or before can become a part of your story, and then God and the program's hands can be used to help somebody else. But it's really important to get back in as soon as possible.
Absolutely.
Start doing the right thing.
Yeah, absolutely. What's up, Andrew? Good, how are you? Yeah.
You guys live on the air?
Yeah, we're doing the thing right now, man. Yeah. So if someone wanted to reach out to Calvary, have a seat, man. If someone wanted to reach out to Calvary and learn a little bit more about the program, about where they could reach out to anybody, where could they go?
That'd be great. 2 ways of doing it, and it's really the way people find treatment nowadays. Is there's a great website, calvarycenter.com.
Got it.
And they've got pictures and videos and information, and on there is also our 800 and our local number. But really the website's a great place to start, calvarycenter.com.
Got it. One piece of advice for anyone struggling out there, Jim, what would it be?
We do recover. Get help, ask for help. You can't do it alone. And if you're anything like me, you will not realize just how wonderful recovery is until you experience it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, Jim, thanks a lot for joining us today, live at Innovations in Recovery. Thanks to Foundations Recovery Network for sponsoring the show, bringing us out here, having a great time. Peace, love, respect. Keep your blood clean.